I wanted to introduce the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange. The Interagency Working Group on Ocean Acidification, which is made up of representatives of multiple federal agencies across the United States federal government, was charged by the Congressional 4AM Act of 2009 with developing an Ocean Acidification Information Exchange. And the exchange was formally launched earlier this year, and to date, membership has focused primarily among diverse regions within the United States. However, the tools and collaboration opportunities offered within the exchange will certainly be useful to OA Alliance members. And today, we are formally inviting you into the exchange to become active users that help shape the platform and make its content and the collaborations most meaningful to you and to the work and networks already occurring in your region. And while Shallin will be providing an in-depth tutorial, I just wanted to call out a few of the opportunities we are hoping you will engage with and help further shape within the exchange. So I recently became a member of the exchange, and there is the opportunity to engage in existing policy teams that are formed around different topics: data management, education, observation and detection of impacts, policy and resource management, sensors and equipment, and the go-on kits. And so as a member of a few of these existing teams, I get notifications when people post different articles or surveys or information. So it's a really useful way for me to stay in touch with what's going on. And there are existing regional teams as well that you can join. Again, most of these are currently formed around the United States regions, but there's an opportunity to establish new regional teams to connect in different ways. So this is something that I think for the members of the Ocean Acidification Alliance will be particularly an aspect that you'll be wanting to think about, whether or not there are new teams that either a topic that's not covered or a different region where you'd like to connect with people. And again, it's been a really valuable tool for me so far in terms of understanding when events are happening, surveys that where people are asking for input, and getting an update on what's going on. The other thing that you can do with the Ocean Acidification Information Exchange is invite your networks to join, so that really the value of this tool is the people that are connected through it and that are participating in it. So we hope it will be really useful tool for you all to learn about, and hope that you will engage in the information exchange. So with that, I want to turn it over to Shallin to launch in and give you more of a tutorial about the information exchange. Thanks.
Great, so thanks so much. And I'm really excited to have the opportunity to present to this group. So hopefully y'all can see my screen. What I'm going to do is go through some slides, and then I'm going to dive into a tour of the site. So feel free to interrupt me if you want to ask questions. Alternatively, you can type them into the chat or questions box, and I can see them there as well. So if you can't hear me, someone just again interrupt, and I'll do my best to speak a little louder. So the information exchange is catalyzing response to information, or to ocean acidification, through collaboration and information sharing. And the kind of rationale behind forming this new website is crowdsourcing information for all to see. So what we've done is build a conversation space where people can share information, ideas, documents, events, and happenings. We also see it as a platform to foster engagement and a sense of community. So giving individuals and organizations, both large and small, a way to engage on and learn about OA, and to find others to interact and collaborate with. We also see this as allowing innovation through interaction and self-tasking. So as you'll see, we have some team spaces, and interactions there can foster these conversations and kind of realizations of new lines of thinking and projects that we think will really push the field forward to generate the information that folks are looking for. So how is this different from other websites, and how will it promote stakeholder involvement? Well, the heart of the website is a collaboration space where users can self-organize into teams, and teams share resources, they engage in online discussion. So it's these interactions that build a network of well-informed and well-connected individuals and organizations. And really, the people who use the website drive the content, drive the direction of conversations, what's talked about, how it's talked about. And so this isn't a place where you necessarily only want to go to learn. You go there to learn and engage and to be part of the conversation. One thing to note is it does not host data, but we think it's a great place for people to post about their data sets, to say, hey, I'm doing this type of study, or I'm doing this types of observing. Here's where you can find my data repository. So we see a variety of different user types of the information exchange. Research scientists are part of that, but it's not only that. So we would like educators, concerned citizens, industry, NGOs, managers, policymakers, anyone who is thinking about ocean acidification is welcome to join. Initially, so we launched the website in February, and our initial launch focused on U.S. communities, just so we could start the rollout in a slower way, and we're now ready to launch globally. So we have some folks who are participating in the global OAIE observing network are already on the site, and we have a team focused on the kits that go on is helping to distribute to some countries. And we are really excited to welcome the OAIE Alliance community to the website. And we're looking to the Alliance to help shape the international engagement elements on the platform in ways that would benefit your efforts and OAIE actions inside your country. So just a little bit about logistics. This website was conceived by the U.S. Interagency Working Group on OAIE and funded by NOAA and BOEM, two federal agencies. The website is administered by NERACOOS, which is the Northeast Regional Association of Coastal and Ocean Observing Systems. So it sits outside the U.S. government. And the software is built and maintained by a company called Webitex. To develop the site and steer it as we go forward, we have a multi-stakeholder steering committee from all different user types that could be represented on the site. I do a lot of work on the site, and we have a part-time web manager who helps maintain and deal with all the logistics of the website.
Hey, Shallin?
Yes.
Hey, Shallin, can I interrupt?
Yes.
Can I just ask that we're hearing you well, except every now and again fading away. So just making sure that just directly into the microphone as possible.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So thank you for interrupting and letting me know. So before I do the tour of the website, this is a plea to leave your footprints on the site. What we've heard in this initial launch period is that a lot of people are on the site and using it on a regular basis, but we don't necessarily know because they're not leaving any comments behind. So if you're there, just leave a little footprint so that we know you're there and who's using the site. And so with that, I'm going to start my tour. Good. And so I'm also going to close my door. I think that might help with some of the sound issues. So I will be giving a tour, but I also welcome you guys to hop on the website while I'm talking. You can see the link up here, www.oainfoexchange.org. So this is the public side of the website. This is what anyone can see if they stumble upon the site or look for it purposely. But the real action of the website happens in this member side. So what you would do to join is request an account. You put in your name, your email, your affiliation, something about what you do, and press the send a request, and then I or the web manager will approve you. So let's just go in so you can start seeing the member home. So this is what the website looks like once you're behind the member side. And I'm just going to do some clicking around so you can see. One of the nice things about the website is that it can be your Rolodex. for people who are also working on ocean acidification. So you can search them here. You can do some cruising. You can kind of specify, how recently they joined, or kind of do any kind of searching. So I'm going to search Libby, who is also on the line. Libby is the director of the NOAA OA program and chair of the Interagency Working Group on Ocean Acidification, and has been instrumental behind the ideas for launching the website, creating the website, and launching it in terms of funding. So shout out to Libby. And so I mentioned that there are teams on the website. You can see this list of teams right here. I'm going to go to the public home where you can see them a little better. So some of these teams are topic-based. So for example, data management, policy, resource management, and some are region-based. So you'll see here that you see a footprint of the fact that this was launched in the US. So these regions are US focused outside of Pacific Islands. And we welcome suggestions for other teams depending on what our users want. So feel free to suggest another regional team if you think it would be helpful for your efforts. So just to give you a sense of what those look like, here's the team for the Pacific Islands. And Chris Sabine, who's also on our call today, is one of the leads of this team. And he's posting about alkalinity SOPs. Let's see, some other things about new literature that's come out. So folks are welcome to hop on those conversations. And then here's an example of one of the topical teams. So this is focused on policy and resource management. I think people who are on this call might get a lot out of this effort. So here, for example, Darcy, who's up in Alaska, posted results from a stakeholder survey she did to figure out what people want to learn about in terms of OA in Alaska. So another team that you guys might be interested in is here, this Go On Kits. And so you can see the rationale behind the team. And again, posts can be cross-linked among teams. Here is an update on what's going on in terms of OA in East Africa. And then over here at the top right, we have this regions. So this is how you can look at the website curated by these teams or curated by location. And so I'll just hop here on the global post. You can see what's going on there. So for example, Richard Feely posted this update that OA was just made a headliner by the World Ocean as an ocean climate indicator by the WMO. And then I didn't really understand what that meant. And so Bronte Tilbrook explains what it means for these international processes here. So questions before I get into more of the tour. Okay, so I'll just kind of start in, and I have some pages that are already open. So this, I think, is a great example of how people are talking about new assets. So Kim Yates, who's down in Florida, said, posted that she has a new OA monitoring system now online in Tampa Bay. And so you can see that there are about 40 kind of posts on this about learning more about what she's doing, people sharing kind of that this is happening. And then I'll kind of keep on scrolling down here. Phil Graveness, who's a postdoc down in Florida as well, realized that these data from this asset would be really useful for his biological response experiments. And so you can see some of that exchange starting to happen on the website, and a lot of it happened outside of the website as well. Kim is using this post in an unusual way. She's using it to keep the community informed for when she takes her assets offline for maintenance too. Well, let's say I was interested in learning about what other buoys or assets have been recently put in the water and might not show up in data streams yet. So I can use the search function to say, okay, who's talking about buoys? And you can see here that Wiley Evans from Canada just posted that he has a new buoy that was put in the water off of British Columbia. And he explains here kind of the processes that might influence chemistry in the area. Let's see here, Adrian Sutton let folks know that there's a new asset in Chesapeake Bay. So this is kind of an example of how the search function can help you find what you're looking for. Let's see. Here's a conversation which might seem a little technical for folks, but it actually influences how people can study OA. So as many of you know, people use mercuric chloride to poison seawater samples to assay them for ocean carbon chemistry or to carbon chemistry later. But mercury is a difficult compound to work with, and some jurisdictions have really strict rules about using it. And so Erica from NOAA was asking, what are the alternatives out there? And you can see Jessica Cross, Kim Yates, Andrew Dixon, just talking about what they're doing to address this problem and some concerns that they have about using alternate techniques. This was a fun post by Darcy Dugan from up in Alaska as part of that stakeholder survey that I showed you. They launched, the Alaska OA Network launched a new video series called Ask a Scientist. And the question that was pulled out of this stakeholder survey was, is ocean acidification happening in Alaska right now? And there's a short 5-minute video by Jessica describing that. And it's received a lot of accolades from the community because she does such a great job in answering this really relevant question. This is a post that I made about the Southeast Ocean and Coastal Acidification Network's monitoring workshop report. And in this workshop report, they prioritize where OA assets should be in the Southeast. And that prioritization is a very difficult thing to do. And I thought their methods could be useful for others. So you can see here a conversation happening with people from the West Coast about, what they're doing and how their methods might relate. And this is the kind of sharing that we're talking about where folks can find each other who are doing similar work in other regions. This was a fun example for some of the scientists in the house. Heather Benway from Woods Hole posted about some new research that was done showing that diatom iron uptake is limited by carbonate ion concentration. And folks were talking about the research, and then one of the lead authors on the site hopped on and gave his perspective on the data and what would need to happen next to keep that science going. For the OA Alliance action plans, I'm guessing that a number of you are talking about phytoremediation as an OA mitigation strategy. And there's a robust conversation about this topic going on, kind of pointing people to resources, sharing ideas. And this is a great way to help people who are more consumers of information and research about OA find the right resources and hear some of the perspectives behind it. So kind of similarly, here's a post from someone who's in the shellfish industry kind of saying, all right, well, here are my main questions on ocean acidification. What are your main questions on ocean acidification? And information like this can be really valuable for folks who are trying to drive research agendas to see what it is that their stakeholders really want to know. So I have a few more parts of the site to show you. One is a list of events. So you can view this in agenda format, which you see here, or as a calendar format. So people can post meetings or webinars or training events, and you can export any of these events to your own calendar on a variety of different formats. Just a couple examples of how that's been used. A few months ago, this new app for a pH Interactive Explorer came out, and someone posted on it, and we all wanted to find out more information. And so what Laura Francis did is she said, hey, the developer sits down the hall from me, so let's get him on a webinar. So she scheduled this webinar to let the community know about this app a little more. So California is using this to announce some of their webinars that are associated with the development of their action plan, and I welcome others to do that too. One thing that's great is that the website has GoToMeeting embedded within it, and so you can just click this button when you're scheduling an event, and it will create a GoToMeeting for you guys for the event, and you don't need to have a different access to that software. So that's great for folks who don't have their own web conferencing software. And the Gulf Coast Acidification Network and the kind of focus on the Gulf of Mexico in the US is using that for their steering committee meetings. So it's being taken on by the community already. So I feel like I've talked a lot, and I'll stop the presentation there and open it up for questions and conversations. So again, if you want to talk and are having trouble with mute, just raise your hand and I'll help you. And then also put in the chat box if you're having issues or you want to ask your question online.
Hey, Shallin, this is Jesse. I was just wondering if you could quickly go through the list of existing teams right now and just talk a little bit about some of the policy teams that are up and running.
So policy teams, well, we have this policy and resource management team, and this is the team that we really developed for people who are going to be working in that context. That said, there's a lot of information on the website that would be useful for folks who are policymakers or resource managers that might not be tagged into that site or into that specific team on the site. We are also open to creating other teams that our users would find helpful. This team, the local response and action team, is really targeted towards industry and resource managers in a slightly different way. Resource managers who might be working on permitting or might be fisheries managers, for example, who would want to kind of do that type of interaction. Not sure if that answers your question. So Amy, I can see you have your hand raised. You can unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. So just click to the microphone and you'll be able to access that.
This is Amy, and I was just learning to use the webinar, and I didn't mean to have my hand raised, but thank you. I'm going to mute myself now.
Okay.
So that actually helps maybe queue up another thing, you know, thinking about for the OA Alliance, we have government members, obviously, and different folks within the government, you know, so sometimes we've got the scientists working, you know, on behalf of the government on the OA Alliance, or policymakers, or even advisors within some of the different, you know, heads of state offices. But then, of course, we also have affiliate members, non-government entities. Can you talk a little bit, Shallin, about sort of how non-government entities, and not just in the academia department, but some of the NGO communities, industry communities you touched on a little bit, you know, how this tool might be used to think about education and outreach, either best practices on OA or even whole communities, you know, kind of dedicated to thinking about that subject.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do have this education and outreach team, and this is being used by a variety of different people, folks who are experiential educators, formal educators. You can't necessarily see it right now as I'm scrolling, but we do have people from all walks of life who are part of this team. So this is a great place for educators, like let's say an action plan has items to add OA awareness into the early education system in their nation. This would be a great place for folks to kind of see what type of tools are out there already. You could do that by kind of seeing what folks have posted, but also asking the question of, who has a great curriculum that they like, and then you'll get kind of engagement that way. The industry is using the website in an interesting way. So you saw that kind of priority questions post that I talked about, but they're also using it to talk about some of these mitigation techniques. So Greenwave is hosting a farmer training, and they posted an announcement about that here. Maybe do you want to clarify if you want me to go in a different direction?
No, that's great, and I encourage any affiliate members on the line. I realize this is a new tool of introduction, but definitely encourage affiliate members to be tooling around and thinking about how your work, this might be a platform for your work, and also a learning exchange across similar actors, and thinking about coordination and collaboration. I wonder too if I might pick on two people that are on the line, possibly. One, Darcy Dugan in Alaska, and also Chris Sabine at the University of Hawaii. Darcy, I wonder if I might pick on you to talk a little bit about sort of the pretty active community in Alaska, and how your expanding network of scientists, policymakers, tribes, industry in Alaska have been engaging in this particular tool, and how you've imagined this as helping build out that regional collaboration.
So Jesse, I'm not seeing Darcy on the attendee list today. Darcy, are you there?
All right, well then I'll give this a second go. Is Chris Sabine on the line?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can. Chris, I was wondering, same question to you, and the Pacific Island team that you've created, and then also thinking about, what are your goals and hopes for expanding membership within this particular team? And I say that with the assumption and hope that we also have one of our affiliate members, SPREP, the Secretariat for the Pacific Region Environmental Program, on the line, and thinking about inviting SPREP into this tool and thinking about how it might be most useful to them. So I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Sure. So the Pacific Islands have a somewhat unique challenge in that, we're spread across many thousands and thousands of miles with different countries and varying resources that make it a real challenge for us to coordinate our activities. So I think having something like this exchange is a wonderful tool that will allow us to communicate and coordinate and collaborate much more effectively than we could otherwise. And in particular, we've been working through this Go On Kit team to share our information and resources on how to make some of these ocean acidification measurements inexpensively, so that we can, some of these countries with very limited resources can still contribute to the improving understanding of ocean acidification. And so some people are getting actual equipment through this Go On program, but by sharing all of the information on what we're doing and how the measurements are made, even those that don't actually get kits through the formal program can hopefully buy their own components and put them together and effectively make these measurements and contribute to the greater community. So I think this is a great resource for everyone, particularly in the diverse and diffuse Pacific Island nations.
This is Shallin. I'll just second that real value of this platform as a sharing opportunity. And this is, I'm going to click on a post here that my I do research half-time, and my colleague Paul and I are thinking about an alkalinity titrator, and we really want to know what the community thinks. And so this conversation is viewable by everyone on the website. So Andrew Dixon, one of the world's experts on this, started posting some information, and folks who have used different technologies have chimed in to say what they use and how it's gone to use this equipment, sharing some validation information. And this, anyone who wants to buy an alkalinity titrator can just come and find this on the website.
And by the way, I'll just mention that I just got the signature of my dean so that the School of Ocean and Earth Science and Technology will now be an official member of the Alliance.
That's great, Chris. Thank you so much for that live, late breaking news update. That's great, and we're excited to have you guys.
Thanks. I'll be sending that along shortly.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments, questions for Shallin regarding the exchange?
Well, I'll just chime in again and say thanks again for the opportunity. And I do look forward to helping share this website with folks who are part of the OA Alliance. So feel free to get in touch with me after the meeting if you'd like, and I can give you more tours or talk with groups who you work with and help you with some invitation for invites if you're looking for that too.
Great, thank you so much, Shallin. And just as a reminder to folks on the call that you'll definitely want to go ahead and request access as sort of the critical point of entry, and then from there you'll be granted access to be a full member of the OA Exchange, and really very much echo Jenn Hennessey's invitation to this group to join, and really thinking about building out those new regional teams to the extent that that's something you are interested in taking on, and then really more deeply engaging in some of these policy teams around data management, education outreach, observation, policy, and of course sensors and equipments. So we will, I think, leave it at that, and happy to leave a little bit early. I will only also note that kind of staying connected for the next couple months, we are going to plan a little summer webinar series, hopefully just pick out a couple key topics and move away from sort of the larger platform of report outs and move into deeper dives. So you can self-select into those deeper dives with groups within the OA Alliance that are working on those particular issues. So we'll issue those dates and topics here pretty soon. And then also thinking about preparing for the California Climate Summit, which is occurring in September of this year. The OA Alliance will be engaged in that event in addition to a couple others at the end of the year, our Ocean Conference and COP24. So please stay in touch with us, and we will continue to provide opportunities for collaboration and being front and center and those opportunities to come. So thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, and wishing everybody a good day.